cannot stress how incredible this is going to be. But before I get started, I just wanted to let everybody know. I just this is going to be hopefully a funny show. I love to joke around. I love to be humorous and everything, but I just want to say something serious. I want to give a shout out to Niall Scala and Billy Tucci at the POPXP. Without me meeting those guys and having those guys in my life, I would have never met the people I've met, had the experiences and the opportunities that I've had, and they are just absolutely the greatest people. I love working with the POPXP. I love being on the POPXP. This is just something. This is just something for me. This show is just something for me. I still plan on doing work on the POPXP, but just want to give a shout out and dedicate this first episode to those guys. So just to let you guys know, my first guest today, he needs no introduction, but I'm going to give you one. He's one of the elites, one of the OGs from comic books. He's done comics. He's been a director. He's done movies. He's done music. He's just absolutely incredible. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring him in, Mr. Dan Fraga. What's up, sir?
Hey, man. That was a cool little intro. I remember.
Man, I spent 2 hours on that.
That's cool. I like the sound effect on the signature.
I downloaded the full audio of they had all kinds of different, and I had to clip the part out and extend it
great.
out. I thought, well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Man, thank you for giving me your Sunday.
My pleasure, and I want to echo your sentiments regarding POPXP. Big shout out and love to our friends Niall and Billy Tucci. I had to do it, but yeah, big love and respect to our friends at POPXP.
Man, Dan, you've done it all, man. You've done it all. People know you. You've been asked the same question 1,000 times, probably in every different direction. So I thought I'd start off by letting you know this is going to be kind of a different show. I'm going to be asking just some questions that I'm personally curious about.
Yeah.
And maybe not try to take myself way too seriously or anything, but
is it going to be there's an interviewer that goes back a long time, into the late 90s, a guy named Nardwar. Nardwar, Nardwar, and he usually interviews people in the hip hop community, but he always comes with.
I remember him, and he has the knowledge.
Yeah, he always wears these weird hats and says "do and all this stuff. But he'll come up and if he interviewed me, he'd be like, "Now, Dan, what would Mrs. Minimum think about your art style now?" And I'd go, "How did you know my high school art teacher's name?"
Right.
He's that kind of guy where you're like, "I've never seen that in print. How do you know that?" Those sort of things.
Well, I don't think I'm going to get that deep, and I promise these questions are not going to be anywhere near like that.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go Nardwar on it.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start with something. Have you Googled yourself, or have you Googled your net worth on Google?
Once or twice, just because someone asked me had I, and I took a look, and it's all bullshit. What's up, Past Master Dan? POPXP's in the house.
Master Dan, one of the best admins around.
He's the greatest.
So it said that you have a net worth of $5 million. So my first question is going to be, can I borrow $16.30?
Yeah, I mean you can borrow $16.30. Maybe
with tax.
Maybe if they're combining assets and potential, he has these ideas that
could have a lot of boxes, and we don't know what's in them. So
yeah.
It could just be money.
I was actually yesterday. We went to this really great Caribbean restaurant here in Macon called Tropical Flava,
nice.
and they're next door to this comic shop called Fat Boy Collectibles, or Fanboy, not Fat Boy, because Fat Boy is
that
another
would be
one.
My store.
No, come on, get out of here. No, there's another one called Fat Boy. No, that's Fat Boy Records. My bad. Fanboy is next door. But anyway, I went into the comic store and I was looking in their glass case and going, he's like, yeah, that's my modern age stuff. And I'm like, dude, I have like 5 of those. I didn't like they're comics I bought back when I was collecting in the mid 80s, early 90s. And now I find out like half of the shit I have is worth something. I need to go through it though, because after the move, it's like I got long boxes and short boxes all over the place.
No doubt. I'm still waiting to see you put up the Stephen Platt posters.
I will.
Oh,
Now that the basement is cleared out, I have to get the shelving from IKEA, and then I can put all my books up, and then I'll also know where, once the shelves are in, where my poster room is at. Because those sconces back here is a fancy interior design word that I didn't even know. No, it was funny. I worked at Mattel, and our art director, Emily Kelly, amazing, but she's like, maybe we could put some sconces back there. And I'm like, is that a kind of seafood? Like, I didn't know what a sconce was. And then but these sconces back here, they're in the wall. So I can't put posters there. I can only put stuff sort of in between.
And they look good, and the FRAGABOOM looks really good in the background too.
Yeah. Thank you to my wife. She got me that
awesome.
Christmas 2021 when I was laying there in bed and unable to move. Mike, she's like, here's your Christmas present. And I'm like, unwrap it.
Okay, so the apocalypse happens, and for some reason you wake up and you're on a desert island, and you find an MP3 player with a full charge on it, right?
Full charge?
It's fully.
Is it solar powered so I can listen to it forever?
No, like it's just it. But for some reason, the spin dial, you can only get it to move like one time, okay? And you have to choose which of the songs. But the only songs that are available are Natalie Imbruglia's Torn, All the Things She Said by Tattoo, What Would Happen If We Kissed by Meredith Brooks, and Billy Meyer's Kiss the Rain. Which one do you listen to?
The Sound of the Ocean.
The Sound of the Ocean.
That's my official answer.
If you had to choose one, which one would you choose?
I'd probably, if I could just put it on and I don't have to loop it, I just go, oh, I'll listen to this song, is Natalie Imbruglia's Torn, because I really thought she was super cute back in the day. I would have been like, oh, and then I'd probably crack one off because I'm on a desert island and no one would know. Right. And then I'd relax to the sounds of the ocean. If we're being honest.
What a life! The last thing you get to hear,
right?
It's not your own voice, is one of those. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and move into my the first segment of the show.
Okay.
Which is called Top 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hit 80s, and I want to know your top 3 favorite action movie of the 80s. Top 3.
Number 1. Beyond a shadow of anything, far and ahead, would be First Blood Part 1, which I believe was 1981.
Right.
Stallone. It's a take all the other Rambo movies away and just keep that one. That is a legitimate film with a message, and the action is badass. Nothing makes you want to like cut your arm and sew it with a needle than that movie, I'm gonna have to also go. Are documentaries okay to choose as well?
I mean, it's an action movie, so
yeah. Well, people call this an action movie. People call this an action movie, but it was actually a documentary because they awarded 2 of the people in the documentary governorships, and I believe it's because they survived this thing called The Predator. So Predator would be number 2. An amazing documentary film. I recommend you see it. And then lastly, Die Hard 1.
Sounds great.
So those would be my 3.
Is your number 1 though?
Number 1 is First Blood, hands down.
First Blood. So my number 1, beyond a shadow of the doubt, is Die Hard. My number 2 is Predator, and my number 3 is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
See, I don't see Raiders of the Lost Ark as a action movie. To me, it's an adventure movie. Yes, a lot of action, but
maybe I should have said action adventure.
Okay, yeah, because when I think action, I think guns, running, blood.
There is a gun.
Yeah.
There is a gun. So yeah, the
Yeah.
Nazis had some guns.
True.
And
True.
Apocalypse Now. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a solid 3. And we had, I mean, overlap. Our Venn diagram is pretty
Yeah.
overlappy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I mean, yippee-ki-yay, right? How can you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Know that? Welcome to the party,
The
pal.
weather outside is frightful.
So, top 3 favorite sci-fi movie.
Blade Runner, number 1. Aliens, number 2.
So it's a sequel.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that there's Alien and Aliens. I don't know.
Yeah, the James Cameron.
Yeah.
And James Cameron occupies 2 because Terminator.
Terminator.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's it. And with honorable mention to Back to the Future, but that again falls sort of adventure-y sci-fi.
Yeah, adventure-ish.
Yeah.
So my number 1, you may not know this, is Flash Gordon. It's one of my
it's a good one.
All-time favorite movies of all time.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah. Number 2, this is going to be kind of cheesy, but obviously it's going to be Empire Strikes Back because I like Star Wars. So
yeah,
Empire Strikes Back, I think that was one of the better ones. I think it was the best one of the trilogy. You have the people that fight over the end ones. So
it's weird because again, when none of the Star Wars entered my mind because I would have put the /fantasy.
Right.
And when I think of sci-fi, like there's no fantasy in Blade Runner. I mean, it is all fantasy, but there's nothing. It's very straightforward.
Sci-fi is like robots and
futurism.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, that's great.
Even though Star Wars was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far, far away, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And number 3, probably going to be a surprise to you, Last Starfighter.
That's a great movie, but there's so many. Like the reason you're saying 3, and I'd put Starfighter in top 15.
I was just asking your top 3, man. Like
I know
we know there's a million amazing sci-fi movies.
Yeah,
million amazing sci-fi movies. So, all right, and I guess finally, favorite cartoon series from the 80s.
Well, see, this is tough because
there's some good ones.
Because there's 2 things that have happened, and this is a weird phenomenon that I found that really only happened with cartoons, not so much with movies, but the nostalgia factor. I remember as a kid, like if you asked the 12, 13-year-old me what they were, I'd have a different set of answers than the adult me. Because I've gone back and watched some of the ones that I thought were like, yeah, that was the shit. And I watch it now and I'm like, this is shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like it didn't hold up. Like the nostalgia factor was there. But one that still shines, but I'll call my number 1 Star Blazers.
Oh, that's a good one.
Battleship Yamamoto. Number 2 would be Voltron, the Lion Force.
Oh,
and then number 3 would be Thundercats. And if you asked young me, it would have been G.I. Joe, Transformers, Ninja Turtles.
Right.
That's how it would have gone down. But Transformers is unwatchable. Like for me now, I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're like, why are these guys like? Why are these robots trying to rob a bank?
Right. And and like
that's what kind of got me about like Super Friends with like Sinestro wielding the yellow ring. Like, why is he robbing a bank?
Yeah.
Why is he trying to get this? Well, my 3, my number 1 is Thundar the Barbarian.
Yeah.
Number 2 number 2 is Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And number 3 is Mask, Mobile Armored Strike.
See, that's another one that's great, but it didn't quite like make it past the nostalgia thing. But for some reason I identify Thundar as 70s, but you're right, it is the 80s. And my favorite part of that is like, well, first, the Jack Kirby designs are fantastic, but when they go in the future, 1996, the world, and you're like,
I got all
that's awesome.
Ookla the Mock.
Ookla's awesome.
And also, Princess Ariel.
Beautiful.
Thundar put his strength and his courage and his fabulous son's sword against the forces of evil. Dan?
Yeah.
That guy's
Remember
kind of a legend.
Black Star, Munchie
Oh,
Cheese,
dude, absolutely.
Turbo Teen,
Dude,
Rubik the Amazing Cube, The
you know,
Adventures of Pac-Man.
that I'm a connoisseur of trying to find like lost
Yes.
cartoons.
Yes.
Turbo Teen is one of those top ones. There was only 13 episodes of Turbo Teen.
Yeah.
Well, the main studio that did Turbo Teen burned to the ground with all the originals and everything.
Holy
So
shit.
there's only like 3 full episodes of Turbo Teen in English. The rest, they have a couple of them. They're still missing. I think there's 2 or 3 episodes that are still missing, but the other episodes, they're all in French.
Weird. Well,
Yeah.
it's funny that it would be surviving French. I had a mentor that he's 10 years older than I am, and he fantastic director and all this. He was saying Turbo Teen it was a metaphor for male puberty, because
I believe that.
no, think about it.
Yeah.
He gets hot, he turns into a hot rod, and the only way to get him back from being a hot rod is to pour ice water on him.
Yeah, cool him down.
Right?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And and like I don't know, it was really weird. Like the bad guy was the Dark Rider, but it was a Bigfoot truck.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember. It was just
I remember Bigfoot. Yeah. Man, I didn't know that about Turbo Teen. I really thought maybe there's a collection,
there's tons of those. Like
French.
the same people who did Thundercats, they had another spinoff that came off on a special series. They did it in pieces. Was Tiger Sharks, and you hear about Tiger Sharks all the time. Somebody stole all the original Tiger Sharks, the OG stuff.
Yeah.
So you can only find them on VHS.
I don't even know. I don't even remember that shit.
Yeah, it's Thundercats, but with sharks.
Why couldn't that happen with Captain Planet?
Because he's a hero and he brought pollution down to zero. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh shit.
But so all right, so that's it for top 3.
Top 3 segment.
We're rushing this. I didn't know how much the time was going to be because I'm new to this kind of structure.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So this next segment is called "What Would You Do?"
Okay.
Okay. You're 80 years old. It's 2058. Okay.
Wait, no, that wouldn't happen.
Is that not right?
No, I'm 50 this year, so just add 30 years to this year. It'll be 53 when I'm 80.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So a little more. My math's a little odd.
It's okay. It's okay.
I was guessing. You're
Yeah.
49. You're 49 right now. So
yeah.
Your birthday is in June. So
yeah.
So anyway, it's 2058. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Spider-Man enters public domain.
Yes.
In 2058.
Yes.
Does Fraga come out old, still kicking around Fraga, and does he create a Black Flag Spider-Man comic?
Well, first off, I won't stop. I'll be happy if I make 80. My dad's turning 80 this year, so
oh man, you're gonna kill that number, dude. What are you?
Yeah, well, I hope to be 80. I'm working hard, especially after how many bad health issues I had over the past couple of years. I'm working really diligently to. I've studied a bunch of things, how to like reverse aging. Not like magical shit, but stop with the booze, stop with the sugar, stop with the processed food, stop with stop with all that shit, and exercise and get more sleep. So if I make 80, of course, Spider-Man's my favorite character of all time.
Is that the first thing? Like, do you count down, like when it gets like 2 years out? Are you like counting down there? Like, man, like in 2 years, I'm gonna make like the greatest.
Well, I would have to start drawing it 2 years beforehand, right?
You don't know. It might all be automated, like all AI. That you
F that.
Tell the story. Tell the story.
F that. No, I have so
I'm
many.
I'm not down with it.
I see that. Here's the thing, man.
There's other people that make those decisions and don't care about original art.
If anybody wanted to know my take on Spider-Man, I did this comic in 1996 called Kid Supreme. It was a spinoff of one of Rob Liefeld's characters
Oh,
named Supreme. And the
funny you say that.
idea,
That's one of my questions for
the
today.
idea was that it was sort of like a Superboy type title. And
Yeah.
I said to Rob, listen, man, I'm not really a DC guy. I never read Superboy. I only read like the John Byrne Supermans. And like, I have a take on this character that it's unique, but not. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, when I was a kid, my favorite comic was Spider-Man, and my absolute hands down favorites were the Ditko issues. And I like the idea of a teenager in a small town living with, elderly, either grandparents, uncle, aunt, going to a high school and trying to live the normal life while villains are abound. I said, to me, that's great because it's like I can dig deep, and that's where my passion is. And I can also use some of my own experience and my own internal uh, uh, challenges to put it all on the page. So Kid Supreme was essentially my take on Spider-Man. You could take the villains and realize they're all stand-ins. Like the Buzzard is the Vulture, and
Right.
Reptile is Lizard, and Kilowatt is Electro, and
Electro.
Blacktop is Sandman. And it like I just created all these characters that were basically the same.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yes, so what would I do? Yes, I would do it. But I wouldn't come out of retirement. No, I would just that would be my next project.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good to know. All right. Um, Now you mentioned Rob Liefeld,
Hmm.
so I want to tell you I have a Rob Liefeld question. So
Is it a
you
what would you do, or this is a sidebar?
well it's kind of like which is this?
Okay.
Which is this is the question.
Okay.
Like, which is it?
Okay.
So because you worked on this on the very last issue of Snake Eyes Dead Game,
Yes.
like he got a who's who of people to ink and draw the last issue.
No
Okay.
drawing. It was just inking.
Oh, I thought Neil Adams did something in the last one. Did he just ink it as well?
He inked over Rob. It's just
Oh,
Rob. The thing. Well, go on with your
oh,
question.
okay. Well, okay. So the last like basically was still it was crazy. There was a who's who of people that worked on it, right? And
Mm,
of course, like at that time, I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Why would he do that? But then someone way smarter than me in the comic book was like, well, hey, look, you're going to sell tons of issue number one, but you're really probably not going to sell as many issues of number two because a lot of people just collect. You get a bump for it being number one, so this was a way to get more than the average number of people to buy issue number six.
sure.
And then he redid his Brigade number one with Brigade number one remastered
Yeah.
with new artwork, and he had all these different like he
I
has a
I
stable of people.
I worked on that, and I
Yeah,
worked on the Prophet. Yeah.
not well, he has a stable of people that he's able to reach out to and get them to draw. So like there was all these different pages to tell the story, right? So is it just something to get the book out quick, or is it
No, here's the thing.
genius?
He- he-
Because if you have a stable of people and this works, like he's proven that people want this, like could he just start printing like call his stable of people and say, "Hey, I have this story," and have a book done in 30 days?
Well, okay. There might be also a third thing, and
Okay.
then there's also a fourth thing, right?
Gotcha. Well,
So the the third thing would be and listen, I understand your questions because you're a retailer and you have that mindset regarding metrics on what sells and what doesn't sell. But on the other side, I just had this conversation with the owner of Fanboy Collectibles yesterday. He was saying, "Oh, so you work with Liefeld? Is everything I had to say true? Hey, can you do me a favor?" Real quick, and post the YouTube link in the chat. My brother David wants to watch the stream, and I
in
want
the
to.
chat here, yeah. Give me
Yeah,
one
yeah.
second.
Then I can just send it to him.
All
But
right.
he was asking me hey, is everything I heard about Liefeld true? And I said, well, I don't know what you've heard, you know? Oh, thank you. Oh, right there. Let me see. Let me see if I can copy that. There we go. Thank you. Copy. And then I go into
Yeah, I
messages.
had tagged you. Usually, when I tag you in it on my page, it will send it to your page so everyone can see it as well.
He's not on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, my he's smart.
Thank you,
He's not.
Pastor Dan.
Yeah, he's not on Facebook. And so boom,
While you're doing that, I
there it
want
is.
to say what's up to Blackjack and Mortal V both.
Yeah, there
So
we go. So yeah, the guy says everything I heard about him true, blah blah blah. And I said, I have no idea what you heard. And he goes, oh, I heard he's can be an a-hole. And I said, listen, I've known Rob since I was 16 years old. Met him in 1989. So that, if you do the math, that's a long time, 34
absolutely.
years. And we've had our ups and downs, but the one thing that I know about Rob, and this ties into your question, is that guy absolutely, hands down, with every fiber of his being, loves comic books, loves comic book history, loves comic book art, loves everything about it and every facet of it. So the third is that Rob got a bunch of the people he wanted to work with him. It's kind of like the Richard Williams. He's an animator who hired all these former Disney animators like Frank and Ollie and Milton Call and all these guys, because it's like, it's a hoot. Who can say, yo, I got Neil Adams to ink on top of me. I
Right.
got, Ed Piskor to ink on top of me. I got Dan Panosian. And like, Rob has said it to me, and I don't think it's hyperbole. And a lot of people enjoy the team up that happens. Rob says, I'm, if not his favorite inker outside of himself, I'm like one of his favorite inkers to ink him, because what I do is I bring something new, and essentially those books are a killer's row of people that bring something new.
Hands
You
down.
knew that it was Neil on top of Rob because it was this hybrid, and
Right.
you knew it's like this third harmonic that's collected. And then like I said, the fourth option here is that, knowing Rob, it's probably a combination of all three. It's not a which is. Rob is thinking that way of schedule. He's also thinking that way of keeping the numbers up, but he's also at heart a huge fan of comics and his legacy. And man, like, I wish I could say I had Neil ink something over me. There's guys I still would just be like, come on over and ink me up.
Well, he definitely is number one. Like, I don't know if you've been on his whatnots or anything, but I have spent way too much money with Rob Liefeld's whatnots, and I
Yeah.
still keep going back every single time. And I'm like, I'm not going to buy anything this time.
Yeah, he's
$500
entertaining
later,
though. He's
$500 later, yeah.
he's entertaining, and
Dude,
his
showman and
podcast,
salesman, and dude, he just doesn't play. He
he
doesn't have
doesn't.
time. He doesn't have time for any of that.
Yeah, one of these days I'll get to get. I did one whatnot one time and I had a blast, and I just haven't since. But yeah, going back to Rob, that's the other thing I was telling the guy in the conversation yesterday, was that just Rob has, because of the longevity of his career, and he just has sort of a zero tolerance for BS. So while
That's
people
true.
say he's an asshole or he's whatever, he just literally has like zero tolerance.
Right.
And he has thick skin, but he just goes, I've done this so many fucking times. Goodbye. Like, that's just it. Peace.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I mean, it's the same with asking, the regular question, like, "Hey, Dan, like, how'd you get into comic books? Hey, how
Right.
did you do this?" I mean, how many times
I like telling
has
that story though, because for a lot of people, the one thing that's really exciting about this business is that uh, it's almost a fantastical job. When you're a kid, it's like astronaut, jet pilot, cartoonist. Like, there's these sort of like wacky jobs that people go, it's like a fantasy job, right?
right?
And I know what it was like to feel that frenzy of, no, I'm gonna. And I had all kinds of jet fuel to propel me through negative means and positive means. But I remember what that feeling was. And I know there are people out there. And when I tell that story, if it ignites them, that's awesome.
And it is a great story. Absolutely. I mean, it shows tenacity and never giving up. And I mean, like it's really the poster child for like never give up and
Yeah.
always believe in yourself. So
Yeah.
I mean, it is a great story. And I mean, look where it's gotten you. I mean, like
Right.
I was watching a video interview with you about a year ago. You were on the Draftsman's
Yeah.
with your buddy
Brian Murray. Brian
yeah
Murray
Murray, yeah.
and Marshall Vandruff,
Yeah,
both geniuses.
and they asked you how you got into the business, and we had this POPXP had this incredible interview that I was lucky enough to be part of with Will Spartaccio.
I need to watch it. I love
And
Will's.
it was, I have to say, it was one of the greatest, if not the greatest interviews that I've ever been part of.
Yeah.
Or that I've ever seen.
That
And
was
I mean,
2 nights ago, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just
Yeah, you guys go watch that. It's POPXP. You guys need to check.
Yeah,
I need to check it out. It's on my to watch list.
It was absolutely incredible. And one of the things he said is he has so much that he does want to say, but most of the time, like every interview, people are like, "So what was it like when you left Marvel and went to Image?" And he's like,
Right.
"Man, like, do you know how many years ago that was? Do you know how many
Right.
times I asked that question? Like, I want to talk about the now.
I
I
see.
want to talk about what's happening now."
Yeah.
And
There are different perspectives, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a really good interview, and
Awesome.
yeah. I was just thinking, I was like, man, I know this is something that gets asked all the time, but Rob gets asked that all the time in his chat, and he's like, I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people on YouTube that have asked me that question.
Yeah.
You could find over the last
You
couple
can
years.
default to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Speaking of
doesn't entertain it at all.
Keeping it moving, what are the other witches questions? Which one?
That was really it.
It was just a solitary. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like little small.
Okay, so then we go back to the what would you do?
No, this is to the what needs to happen. You're very big into crowdfunding, so this is kind of like not a funny-ish type segment, but I've been looking at crowdfunding. I've been involved. Like, I'm one of the producers on She, the comic book with Billy Tucci.
Yes.
I'm a producer.
Very successful.
Yeah, I man, you chase after Rob Liefeld. I chase after Billy Tucci, and after all these years, I get to be there as an adult. So I have the means to actually be part of it, which is killer for me.
Yeah.
But we start looking, and you have news stations like Bleeding Cool and stuff like that are reporting about comic books, but in the Kickstarter, the Indiegogo and Kickstarter,
I'm giving those air quotes because a lot of the mainstream are not covering. They're not covering things. I'm going to sidebar a little bit. So I talk with Rob, probably once a month, and we were talking about comics, and he's like, "So he was asking me my opinion. He's like, "So how's crowdfunding? Is it dipping? Is it doing well? Blah blah blah." And I said, Eric, you should see Eric July's book. It did, $5 million or whatever. And he's like, "Who? What do you 5? What?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Why haven't I heard about that?" And I go, "Yeah, why haven't you heard about
because
that?"
The news won't report on it because
right. So that's why, anyway, sidebarring. That's why I put air quotes on that.
And that leads into what my question is.
Yes.
So there's no Wizard comic books. There's no
Thank
Heroes
God.
Illustrated anymore.
Thank God.
There's not even a digital version of any kind of
Thank
real
God.
news stuff that does. Say what?
I said thank God on all of that.
So my question is do you think that there needs to be a news source that encompasses all the comics and not just the mainstream?
Of course I do. It's called unbiased journalism. This is a business, but so they focus on this piece and they're ignoring all of it. I mean,
so why has no one done it?
Even even something like a cousin business like movie making. You got Hollywood Reporter and Variety, right? Those are essentially like the big journalists of that business. They still cover the indie scene. They still cover like small film festivals and things that pop are news.
Right.
There's less of this weird sort of politics of we don't want to cover this because it's just, yeah.
But the amount of money being made is insane.
It's not just about the money, it's about creative freedom.
Yeah.
Like there's one of the things that I really enjoy the most about the freedom of crowdfunding, being able to talk to people live on a regular basis, is that the shackles are off. I got hired in 1991. And so this year is going to be 32 years in the business come December. And I got to see old Marvel and old DC in its glory days, and then I got to see it turn into all the other things. But one of the things that had happened, and one of the things that you can kind of observe, especially when you're on the inside, is that you have absolutely no power. You have no power, you have no control, you have no freedom unless somehow, some way you become a bright, shiny success. And they have the power to minimize that success by whatever projects they put you on, how they promote it, how the press depends. It depends on how the press promotes it. But also, you find yourself, even if you're successful, like basically sitting there with your hat in your hand begging for work, and praying your phone rings or praying you get an email saying that they need a project. And when you're working on a project and it's going to end, you're already looking for other work. And like it's this sort of like always behind the eight ball hopeful feeling, like it was a terrible place to be. Like, I hope they like me. I hope there's no weird politics. I hope they don't hate this guy that I worked with and want to punish him by not hiring me. Like, just all of this bullshit, where now you can just be you, put out what you want, and be as 100% as possible, and not have all these hoops and gates to pass through. So, I like the way it is now. Freedom.
What do you think needs to change though to try to help push um like obviously it seems that a big majority of the stuff that's missing, not counting Clan McDonald and Marat Michaels with his poo books and stuff, but
Yeah.
like what do you think is missing to help get the collectors to buy, large quantities, start buying these and investing in some of these indie books to kind of help, create or sustain a secondary market for some of these crowdfunding books?
Well, yeah, like you said, you did you used Marat as a great example. That's my brother. I
Yeah,
love Marat. That's my homie for life. He does have secondary market on those books,
absolutely.
what it is it's Marat knows how to play the numbers game. He also knows how the market works, and he knows the dynamics of the market. So what you will learn from Marat's example, and he's even said this before. Uh, uh, he doesn't hide anything. Like Marat and his formula, he puts it out in the open. And the analogy we used when we were talking was he can tell you where Michael Jackson went to practice his dancing. He could tell you what socks and shoes he wore, and what music he listened to, and you can have it too. But you're not going to dance like Michael Jackson because you're not thinking like Michael Jackson, right? So the answer to your question is that it is it is entirely upon the independent individual creator to understand the market, to if there is growth that they're looking for, they have to kind of look at the market as a whole. Like Comicsgate is a marketplace unto itself, but it's a number, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And then, but then there are people that
A proven
don't know.
number too, by the
Yeah,
way. A
yeah,
proven
yeah.
number.
An awesome proven number. But there are also people out there that aren't even aware of that market, right? Where are they? So you need to market to them, right? The other thing too is if you educate yourself and understand exactly what Murat's doing, and you understand sort of the dynamics, because what Murat's doing is quite simple. There's a parity law, right? Where the reason he can get away with dead poo or do you poo, and you go, wait a second, that's freaking Winnie the Pooh and Deadpool, and those are Disney and da da da. There's a parity law that you can do something one time, right? But you're like, wait a second, there's so many covers and blah, 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 and like limited this, glow in the dark that, and all this. That's more than one time. No, they all have the same guts. So what Murat's doing is he's doing plate changes, right? And plate
Right.
changes are something you do at a printer, and you can do small runs. You can say, hey, here's a Cyber Frog. There are 10 of them, right? And you can get it at the crazy value of $75. Wait, I got it for 25. No, these are 75 because there's only 10. Well, guess what? If you decide that those 10 are all going to be slabbed, and you can guarantee those slab at 9.8, and you still sell them for 75, those are going to be 3-figure books instantly.
Right.
Okay? That's the answer, is to think like the collector thinks. You can't, you know what I'm saying? That's the answer. And it behooves the individual that lords over their fantasy world, whether it's Graham's Compass Comics or Aaron's Elite or All Caps or
incredible.
or yeah, whoever. It behooves us to do these things. Like you see guys like Shane Davis, who just launched 9 Lives Comics, his own site, and doing a lot of really fun and clever things. And that's a way. So like, again, going back to the Liefeld question of, that mindset, I kind of think it's answer 4 for everybody. You got to, like, I have passion for it, but I also have to have an understanding of the business side of it, because at the end of the day, I love this so much, and I know my compadres love this so much, that it behooves us to create a perpetual machine that allows us to continue to do that. And the way that is to make money, because it pays for us to keep doing it.
Cool.
Yeah. Long answer, but that's how I feel about it.
Such a great answer. Straight. It'll be clipped.
Okay.
I'll clip it and post it. So I'm gonna move into the penultimate segment. Penultimate segment. I like to call 20 and 1/2 questions.
Okay. Let's go.
I'm gonna shoot off a couple of shoot off 20 and 1/2 questions.
What is the 1/2 first or last?
Oh, it's gonna be last.
Okay.
It's gonna be last. So
I bet it's clever.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a good one.
All right.
So we're gonna start off small, and hopefully they'll get progressively
cool.
Harder to
Let's
answer.
go.
So
Let's go.
pineapple on a pizza, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
With jalapenos. I like pineapple, ham, onions, and jalapenos. Boom.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Shorts in church.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. God doesn't care. God hung out with the beggars, thieves, and prostitutes. So why not shorts?
You've been to tons of conventions and seen hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of
possibly
different people, like cosplayers, fans, not to mention just people you met in your life doing all the other great stuff you do. Of all the people that you've seen with mullets, have you ever been able to find the party in the back?
Business up front, party in the back.
I've looked in the back several times. I've never found the party. I just want to know if you've had any luck.
I mean, there've been like very magnificent, back capes and those like sweet, Like, I mean, how do you judge a mullet? Like, is it contextual? Do you judge it from the back only or the back front combo? Do you judge the volume? Do you judge how the wind blows it? Does it float? Is it hang? Is it voluminous? Is it wet and stringy?
I missed that class, which is why I had to go to summer school, but they didn't
Yeah.
teach that.
The answer is no. I've never
No,
found
never-
the party. No.
never found
And
the
I had
party
a mullet in 1988. So, you know,
Okay, Kid Supreme or Supreme?
Kid Supreme.
Kid Supreme, absolutely. Matrix sequels, do you consider them canon?
Oh, wow. I didn't think I'd have to pause on something like that. Let's put it this way. The first Matrix is like the first Rambo movie. It's a really great film. The rest are kind of caricatures.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, my answer is yes, they're canon, but are they good canon? No.
Okay. You know, we're friends.
Sure.
We're friends.
Yes.
Of course, we're way far from each other. I'm in Arkansas,
Georgia.
You know, you're all the way out in old Macon.
Yeah.
So, what number on the list would I be of people for you to contact to help you bury a dead hooker?
Well, first off, there's no way on earth I'd be around a live hooker. So it would basically only be because I was helping somebody else.
It's only because you were called first.
Yes. Yeah. And then I would, I mean, you're a friend, but you're way down the list. I don't want to involve you in that shit.
Nope. Hey, I'm just asking. I'm just
no,
asking.
I wouldn't. I mean, that's basically inviting somebody into trouble, because nothing good could have come of that.
Well, nothing good happens when a dead hooker is involved anyway.
Yeah.
But
as far as like, yeah, I wouldn't be in that situation. So it's so hypothetical.
Well, yeah, these are all hypothetical questions.
No. The Kid Supreme was very, very legit.
Well,
yeah.
some of them.
But you'd be down the list. I wouldn't want to bring you into that shit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It shows how much friends we really are.
Yeah.
So which weighs more, a ton of pennies or a ton of non-licensed Nintendo games?
That's a trick question. They weigh the same.
So good.
Yeah.
So smart. Smart.
Oh.
Who's better looking, you or me?
Depends on who's doing the looking.
Dude, you definitely got me by a mile.
No, I don't know. You got a full head of hair, bro.
I do.
It doesn't matter what I do. I don't have a full head of hair. You know? It's like that whole thing where somebody said to, I think it was Winston Churchill, it was somebody funny, where they go, "You, sir, are drunk." He says, "I may be drunk, but you're ugly, and I will be sober in the morning." Right.
That's a good one.
Yeah, no matter what I do, I'm not going to have a full head of hair like that.
You've used that line a couple times too, by the way, in other instances.
Because it's a good one.
It's a good one. It is a good one.
It applies.
A lot of people may not know this, even though I mentioned it earlier on in the show, but you're 49 years old.
Mm-hmm.
What number is the 49th decimal place of pi?
Probably a 7.
It's a 1.
Oh, okay.
Close. It was 1.
It could only be one of 10 numbers.
Just like you, man. You're number 1. You wake up tomorrow and animals can talk.
Mm-hmm.
What is the first animal that you cuss out?
Cuss out? My dog Pepper.
Dude, your dog Pepper's adorable.
No, my dog Pepper's a piece of shit.
Oh,
she's a potato with legs, man, and she's a thief. She is so diabolical. She is a criminal.
Man,
that dog is a criminal.
It's a good thing she's too young to be watching this show. Because
Pepper's almost 12.
Feelings would be hurt, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Pepper's a scum. Her nickname is Scumbag.
Scumbag.
Yeah. And Potato Dog.
The answer to Scumbag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother's in the chat. He says not even close.
Nice.
Yeah. No, she's a scumbag.
Nice. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
time travel and but non time travel with no consequence. So what I mean by that
wow.
is if I mess stuff up,
There's no
I
consequences.
literally have the choice to reset it. Like that's
Oh,
part of the power. So like I can do all the what if episodes I ever wanted to see. What if I like punched Hitler in the mouth, or what if, just all of them. What if I told Bruce Lee don't take that fucking medication, like what if, just all these what ifs just to see how they play out.
to see
What
how
would
it
it
plays
be?
out, then you're able to reverse it back.
Yeah, I go, "Oh, that was crazy." Boop, reset,
Hmm.
In fact, I had the most amazing idea last night. I was coming home from this amazing, I told you, Caribbean
Yeah,
place called Tropical Flava. If you guys are in the
Flavor
Macon
Flav.
area, Tropical Flava is so good. But I was saying to my son Harrison, I said, if your sister Sammy wasn't born, you'd be Marty McFly. And he goes, how? And I said, because you have an older brother that's a lot older, and you have an older sister who's a little bit older, and then there's you. I said, if Sammy wasn't around, you're Marty McFly. I go, you got a beautiful mom and a nerdy dad. And he's like, oh, that's crazy. And he goes, if Sammy didn't exist, and I said, oh my God, that's an incredible Back to the Future idea for a relaunch. Imagine that there was a fourth McFly and that it was a girl, and that through all this time travel business, she was erased from existence. And we saw the version where she doesn't live and doesn't
Wow,
exist. And we tell a Back to the Future tale about her coming back into existence and then really fixing the world.
dude, you need to pitch that. You think
Yeah.
IDW still has the rights
I
to
don't know, but that's my Back to the
I do.
Future idea. And it fits so much into this SJW agenda. It's a girl, you know.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but
pretty
yeah.
good. Pretty good.
Oh
Studio calls.
shit, Mortal V. Sorry. What if I
Yeah,
didn't take the
yeah,
Dragon Ball Evolution job? You know what? Mortal V, you did not get me because I got to hang out with Chow Yun Fat every day for 3 months.
it's true.
So
It's true.
I'll take that win.
It's true.
Yeah.
A studio calls you up,
Mm.
and
What
they're
kind of
like
studio?
a movie studio.
Oh,
Movie
okay.
studio calls you
Yeah.
up. They're like Fraga. You
Yeah.
know, we knew that you've been doing all this stuff, director, comics, all this stuff.
Mm.
We want to make a movie of your life.
Yeah.
What rating does the movie get?
Uh PG-13.
PG
I
13.
want butts and seats.
Gotcha.
That's
What?
the formula.
What's-
That butts and seats, like what do you call it? I was working on a movie called Transporter 2, and we did a bunch of these reshoots in Paris, France. One of the guys that was there, I'm going all around, was this guy named David Bell, who was one of the creators of the sport parkour. Amazing, amazing actor. He was in District 13. Great guy. So anyway, we are doing the edit of the film. And when we started the film, we were told that we were going to upgrade to a rated R film. And so there's a lot of action, blood, stabbing, cutting, shooting, exploding, just awesome gore.
F bombs, maybe
Oh,
one
tons of
boob,
F-bombs,
a boob.
tons of F-bombs. And anyway, we do this cut. The studio comes and watches it, and the lights come up and they're like, wow, wow, Louis, great job. Louis is the director. Great job, man. This is so awesome. Listen, the studio has changed gears, and we want to make this PG-13. And he's like, what? We didn't even shoot a PG-13 movie, And they're like, well, you could figure it out. Use alt takes and, ADR and all this other stuff, which they had to do, right? Like,
Right.
which sucked. And he left. I said, dude, why did they do that? I said, this is fucking awesome. He's like, they want butts and seats. He's French. They want butts and seats. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, R-rated movie, it takes out a lot of the audience. You put PG-13, you put more butts in seats, especially opening day. And I was like, so
So
that's
we
it.
need a Louis cut. We need a Louis cut of that.
Oh, it was great. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, there's a scene where Frank played by Jason Statham, is pointing his gun at the doctor who created this virus, and he goes, what is it? And he goes, it's an incumbent virus. And then Frank sticks the gun closer and he goes, in plain fucking English. And then the doctor goes, anybody who has it will be dead in 24 hours. And he's right. Like that's how it played. But we never had the way it played in the movie was, it's an incumbent virus. And then you're behind Frank and he sticks the gun closer and he goes, in plain English. And they took the plain fucking English out, but they didn't have a take of him saying it. So then they had to use the take behind his head instead of the take on him, so it just, and different things like getting stabbed in the leg. He had to show reactions instead of seeing the knife or the syringe go into the leg.
Right. Crazy.
All right. More questions.
Yeah. Dumbest Smurf.
Dumbest Smurf.
Yeah.
Are you talking like old school 80s stuff?
Absolutely.
I could tell you who I don't like. Do you mean dumb like a kid? Like, oh, I hate him, he's dumb, or like the person that's least
dumbest created Smurf? Mine's Handy Smurf.
Handy?
Yeah.
I can't stand Brainy, man. It's Brainy.
Brainy, yeah.
But he's necessary because you need a foil.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's the bad guy.
Yeah. So, no. The one that they called Vanity Smurf, which was really like gay Smurf, right? Because like like if he was really vain, he would have been all like, I look good today. But he was like, oh, look at me, so Vanity Smurf.
Like Handy Smurf had he had a tattoo of a heart with an arrow through it. I don't know.
And he always had the mirror. And he was always
where's Tattoo Smurf at?
Right. Where's
I didn't see that Smurf in the.
Yeah, maybe it was Handy who did it. You never know.
It might be.
Yeah, okay, I love the Smurfs though. That's why this is a tough question. I actually really liked Smurfs.
Gotcha. Well, they definitely. I'm wearing my Smurf colored shirt. And
my brother called you out. Hefty was the one with the heart.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Hefty was the one I was talking about.
I bet you Hefty gave it to himself.
Dude, he probably did.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but Smurfs, they do it till they're blue. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Smurfs do it till they're blue.
All right.
Now you speak multiple languages, right? Like you can speak multiple languages a little bit, right?
I know a little of a lot of languages, but I'm an English speaker.
What is your favorite Spanish number?
Probably ochento.
Ochento?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I don't even know which one.
I think it's 80. Yeah.
If someone is scared of dogs, but the dogs are black or brown, are they kind of racist?
No.
No?
That's like saying if somebody is afraid of people, like it doesn't matter. Like, that's circumstantial. And anybody that would say it is looking for trouble. And I don't like people that are looking for trouble.
That's right.
So I'm the bigot because I don't like trouble starters.
Bad. That's right.
Yeah.
You tell them what's up. Okay. Now this is a thinker. Okay. So what I want you to do is you're going to round to the nearest 10. Okay. Round to the nearest 10. How many chickens does it take to kill an elephant?
Nearest 10?
Yeah, to the nearest 10. Like,
say, okay, well, like 86, okay, well,
you have to choose 90.
Okay, well, the nearest 10, it would be 10. And it's because it depends on how they kill it. Now, if this chicken had some sort of virus, it would only really take 1, but you want me to round it up, so I'm going to have to say 10 by giving it an infection. You didn't say it had to kill it on the spot?
Yeah, absolutely.
So 10. 10.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they were battling for their life.
But if you're talking about straight up pecking and smothering and all that, 200 230.
230, is that your guess?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have the answer.
And if they went up his butt, if they went up his butt, I'd have to say it in Irish, right? I'd say 239, but one more rounding would make it 240.
Right, 240.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. So when you have to go play, like you probably drive around and explore and stuff when you go places, and like when you get to new areas, like you go like to go meet people, and when you're out and about at new conventions and stuff, people are like, hey man, you should come over and hang out since you're in the area. When you're driving around looking for a place, do you find yourself turning the radio down so you could concentrate more?
In the old MapQuest printed it out on paper days, yes.
You turn the radio down.
I did, and because it's a concentration thing. Like I always say to people, we are very much like computers, and we have RAM, right? Like how many apps we can have open at once, right? So when I'm doing layouts, my RAM, I have to use a lot of RAM for layouts. So my music usually doesn't have lyrics. It's usually instrumental or nothing at all, right? But if in the old days of like, I don't know where I am, I'm trying to find this turn. Is this? I want no distraction. So yes, I would turn it down. But now that I have GPS that says turn in 10 feet, oh, okay. Turn up the Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Who would you consider as your arch nemesis?
My arch nemesis?
Arch nemesis.
I
if you don't feel comfortable saying his name on chat or on
No, I'll say
camera,
it. I'll whisper it though, okay?
You whisper it.
Dan Fraga.
Dan Fraga?
Yeah. Yes. That is my arch nemesis.
Brain turner.
Yeah. Yes.
So they have this thing, if you drop food on the ground.
The 3-second rule?
Yeah, there's a 3-second rule, there's a 5-second rule.
Like
realistically, what is the Fraga rule? How much
pepper?
Like it hits the ground, you're just like done. You're not
even. I call Pepper and have her eat it.
So there's no second for you to pick it up off the ground and eat it.
No. You have to understand, we have 2 dogs, 2 cats, a toddler, that all run across our floor. Like my wife and I sweep and clean that floor a few times a day, and it doesn't matter. So no, man, like no. No. Dog can have it.
That's the question. Like,
dog can have it.
It's zero.
Yeah, I have no tolerance. I don't 3-second rule. I don't do any of that.
No. Nothing like that. Okay.
No. Though I'll say this though, there are certain things that I find precious. Like so. For example, if I'm cutting up something, I don't know. I don't want to be specific, but like if it's something that falls, I'll pick it up and I'll wash it. Like I'll wash. If it's something I have to cook, because if I wash it and then it cooks at 400 degrees, then we're good.
Yeah, it's gonna burn anything off.
Yeah.
Speaking of food, what is your last meal?
My last meal?
If you're on death row and they grant you your last meal, like what would your last meal be?
Can I combo it up?
Oh, absolutely. Get whatever you want.
Okay, then it would be a plate of spaghetti from Lido Pizza in Sherman Oaks. They're on the corner of Victory and Sepulveda. And I'd want red and white sauce on the side. I would want a grass-fed filet from Larson's, which is in Encino on Ventura Boulevard. I'd want a glass, and I'm gonna die the next day, so hangovers don't matter. Nope, I'd want a bottle of Willet 28-year bourbon and a probably wine-wise, probably a 2013 Louis Latour, not expensive, followed by lemon meringue pie and some titties. I mean, can nom on those for a while,
Little nom nom.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it. Yeah.
That's a pretty good. It's pretty good spread.
Yeah. No, and it's very specific because I know what I like.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Somebody said, one guy for a
Past Master
sample.
Dad, you're dying. It's not your birthday.
Yeah,
He said anything, and those are the last
that is
flavors I
right.
want.
That
Those
is
are the
right.
last.
Would you rather be an orthodontist in 1633,
Oh God.
or now on to our last segment? So
Wait,
the last segment is, what are we gonna? What is
wait. Was
under?
that wasn't 21? Oh, because that was half the question.
Yes.
That's funny. Okay, was that really 20 questions?
Oh, absolutely. It's 20 and one half.
Wow, those went fast. Okay, go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, we cranked some of them out like pretty quick. They were
Next segment.
your answers like no. Yeah, the
You know,
final segment.
your half question reminded me of a game my friend Dan McCormick and I used to play. It was
So
and
the
then
final,
so we would
yeah,
just stop mid-story on something, and usually we would get points, like when the guy goes, "What?" You go, "Ah, I got you, motherfucker." Like, it's almost like the game where you hit
right.
and they gotta get you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Alright, so
Good.
next segment.
Yeah, the final segment is what does the future hold? What's this
The
year looking
future
like for
holds
you?
time.
What's the future for Dan Fraga? Like, what's this year looking like for you? What all do you have planned? Like, what do you want to push? Like, obviously,
I could blueprint it, finish Black Flag, fulfill Black Flag. The next campaign rollouts will be a Black Flag omnibus plus some sketchbooks, art books, storyboard books, black and white versions of Black Flag 1, both pencil ink. The Grave, mastered edition. And
you
then
know I want one of those, right? You know
what's
that I
that?
want one. You know I want
I
one.
know you do. We're gonna have it all colored and a super hardcover, super
Yeah,
duper edition.
that's incredible.
The building and cultivating of the YouTube channel, hoping to create some growth using things that we've learned. Certainly a lot more music, and then I have 5 domains. I have 5 web domains. My brother and I are working on making those cohesive. So I have incredible-comics.com,
Nice.
incrediblecomics.com, danfraga.com, fragaboom.com, couchdoodles.com, and gear23.com. And each of those is going to facilitate something different. The Fragaboom is going to be music. Gear 23 is going to be basically like where you can pick up swag and things like t-shirts and like gear, right?
Yeah.
Couch Doodles is going to be where all of the tutorials will exist, where I teach people how to draw and teach them how to do craft, the things that I know how to do, and teach them my way, because there's plenty of ways out there. If you watch tutorials, you can watch a Dave Finch tutorial. My tutorial will get you to the same place in a different way. And people learn differently, which is wonderful. So we're going to be doing that. Past Master Dam is like Landstorm. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're working on Landstorm too. We're
Yeah,
also
he's been pumping Landstorm this whole show. Like,
yeah. Well, Landstorm is going to happen, and also a Rascal miniseries is going to happen.
nice.
Those are all Incredible Comics things, but Incredible Comics will also be the hub for everything comics. The danfraga.com will literally be the hub for everything. So it's sort of a general catch-all. But we're gonna try to take example from people like Mandy and Shane and Eric July, and possibly create crowdfunding on our own platform, that sort of thing. But a lot of things in the works, a lot of things to consider, and then some surprises down the line later this year for my day job stuff. So, well, that's it's all very exciting, and then also just trying to get in better shape, working towards turning 50. And my goal this year is to be the healthiest I've ever been in my entire life by the time I turn 50. So doing a lot of things to course correct. My day, I wake up at 4:45 every morning. I meet my brother at the gym at 5:15. We work out till almost 7. Come home, take my kids to school, take a shower, get to work. And then I try to be in bed. That's why a lot of times people are like, "Where are you? Why aren't you streaming? Why aren't you on Kings? Why aren't you?" You know what? I am fast asleep by 10:15 because I get up at 4:45. And the only way I'm going to get to the place I need to go is by sticking to a routine. So
Great.
again, long story.
No, it's still great. Like I definitely love the idea. Myself, I've I don't know if you know this or not, but I have a bit of a weight problem. So I have been trying to work on it a little bit myself. Like I
Excellent, man.
actually got into some meal prep. So I bought like tons and tons of broccoli and
Those
like
are
all this stuff that's
delicious.
supposed to help me out. I bought a treadmill and some weights and stuff like that. Now it's just
Yeah.
making sure that I get into the grind of actually using it every day on a daily basis.
Oh,
So,
well, you know what? The it's interesting because the thumbnail that you have for this video was right after. So in 2019, I was about maybe 240 ish. Uh and my healthy weight, Brian, like if you need to know, is 195. Like that's where I'm
nice.
supposed to be. So I was 240. I had Ryan Stegman on the show and a guy named Nelson Blake III. And we ended up talking about nutrition. And they were, Nelson Blake was saying that he basically hadn't had any sugar at all for 3 years, and he hasn't felt more energetic and more sort of just turbocharged. And Ryan was telling me he had lost 45 pounds over like 4 months, right? Like, and he said the way he did it was through intermittent fasting. So I asked them about, like, tell me more. And so I had lost in between them, that show, and saying I'm going to try to apply those things to my life. That was like in October of 2019. By February of 2020, so October, November, December, January, February, 5 months, I got down to 185.
Wow.
Okay.
Dude,
And
congrats.
that was without exercise. That was literally just intermittent fasting and cutting out stuff, right? So I only eat from noon to 8, right? That's it. I don't have anything in the morning. Cup of water with some salt and lemon. I have that before I go to the gym. And then the first meal I have is at noon. But I cut carbs out. Like, I hate sweet potatoes, but now I like them, which is weird because that's a carb you can have. But I eat a lot of fish. I eat a lot of avocados. I eat a lot of legume style proteins. I eat 4 times a day, but I don't. No more candy, no more booze. No, I get it when I want like a sugary fix. I eat blueberries. You
Oh yeah.
know
Yeah,
that, or
raspberries.
yeah, and bananas. I like bananas too. But then I stop. 8 o'clock, I stop. And like since Christmas, at Christmas, I was 250. This year. And right now I'm 234. And that was because on January 1st, I said, I'm going back to the old ways. And the only reason I did rebound, because that happens, is in February, because I wasn't exercising and I lost all that weight, I was feeling very energetic. And Harrison, I scooped him up and I was walking really fast. He goes, "Wow, Dad, you're getting strong." Because I hadn't picked him up in a while. And I go, "Yeah." And I started like football running with him and I felt a pop, right?
Oh no.
And I thought, oh, I pulled my groin, but I actually blew my guts out of my lower abdomen. It's called inguinal hernia, where I split my abdomen.
Man, at least you
So
didn't have any diverticulitis go along with that.
yeah, so that was it.
Still horrible.
And that threw me off. I wasn't able to really do the fitness thing, and then I copped those kidney stones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, my recommendation to you is try some intermittent fasting. That meal prep is great. Try to have more meals during the day. Cut yourself off. Drink a lot of water.
I'm
And
drink water like crazy. I actually even got a bottle of water.
good man, good man. It's
Yeah, I
not being
gave
drink
up
though.
sodas. I was addicted to Dr. Pepper. A lot of people laugh at me about this, but I actually had a Dr. Pepper addiction. Like no joke. I found myself like literally having withdrawals and stuff, and I actually end up going. I end up going to therapy. Like I end up
Yeah.
going and to get off of Dr. Pepper, if you can even believe it. It's
No,
kind
it's real, dude. My
of
wife had it.
embarrassing, but it's a real thing, you
It's
know.
real. My wife had it with that very same soda. She used to drink back in the day. She would drink a 6-pack a day.
Dude, during COVID, I bought a pallet because there was rumor that Dr. Pepper wasn't going to be available. I bought a pallet, and I actually even posted on my Instagram and everything. Like it's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was bad times. But you know, I gave up sodas completely about March of last year,
good.
and I mean, I feel better, obviously, but I haven't really seen like a huge like. I mean, I'm drinking water like crazy. I got to where I'm drinking cran apple juice, which I hate
A
cran apple juice.
lot of sugar in that.
Really, it said
There's a
that it's
lot
like
of
liver
sugar. Look
sugars.
at your carbs and the sugar and look at added sugars. That's a lot of sugar in that stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I probably will need to take a look at that. But
What I found, it's a little expensive, but there's a company called Fever Tree, and they make a lot of mixers for alcohol, right? But they have something called refreshingly light tonic water, and it's
gotcha.
only 20 calories, and it's delicious. They also make a grapefruit that's 30 calories. That's amazing. That's what I have if I ever have that craving. And then also if I have like a sugar tooth craving, because I love chocolate like a lot, I bought real high percentage, like 90% chocolate. And
Mm,
then you get a medjool date and a walnut, and you put those three together, and it's like, you know, those candy, those turtles, the
yeah,
caramel
yeah,
chocolate.
yeah.
Well, it tastes like a turtle, but it's just a date, a walnut, and dark chocolate. So it's not bad,
Mm,
you know? Yeah.
crazy. Well, man, as always, dude, I definitely appreciate your time. I mean, obviously, man, this is an honor to have you on as my first
Happy to
guest
be
on
here,
my
man.
show, man. I really appreciate it, and definitely appreciate giving up this Sunday. If you don't mind sticking around for a second, I'll talk with you here in a second. But
Not a problem.
I do want to thank you, and yeah, 3 phases, stages of water. No
Yeah,
idea.
there are. It's vapor,
Oh,
aka vapor, steam. So there's gas, solid, liquid, and solid, I believe.
yeah,
Uh,
that's what he was talking about.
yeah, maybe that's what he's saying.
Cool. But as always, Fraga, I definitely appreciate it. And for everyone in the chat, and for my next guest,